I'm Tracker 16 meteorologist Allie Gallo, and welcome to this week's Cloud to Ground. Last week was a scorcher. Really, it felt like all any of us were talking about. Upper 90s and even triple digits in spots. So just how common is this, and should we expect more of it the rest of this summer? This week, I'm taking a look at heat waves historically here in northeastern and central Pennsylvania. Here in the Scranton area, it has only ever hit 100 degrees 9 times since record keeping began more than 100 years ago. And 6 of those 9 times were in July. The hottest temperature ever recorded in Scranton is 103 degrees. That happened on July 9th in 1936. Some way, somehow, we did not break any records here in the Scranton area during last week's heat wave. But we were pretty close. It hit 98 degrees twice last week on Thursday and Friday. Thursday's high did tie the previous record. It hit 98 degrees on that day, July 2nd, 2 other times in history, in 1901 and in 1966. The record for Friday, July 3rd, was 101 degrees. That was set back in 1966, so no record there. We did break records elsewhere in northeastern and central Pennsylvania, though. It hit 90 degrees on Wednesday, July 1st in Mount Pocono. That broke a previous record of 88 degrees set back in 2018. In Williamsport, it hit 100 degrees on both July 2nd and July 3rd. Hitting 100 on the 2nd broke the previous record of 99 degrees set back in 1966. And hitting 100 degrees on the 3rd tied the record, also previously set in 66. Before last week, it has not hit 100 degrees in Williamsport since 2020. So while it may not have been unprecedented heat here in Scranton, it was quite rare. In recent years, it hit 98 degrees once in 2022, and before that, only once in 2011 and once in 2001. As far as heat waves go, it was technically only a 4-day heat wave in Scranton, hitting 90 or above 4 days in a row. The 2 days before that, the high was only 89 degrees. The longest heat wave in Scranton's history was back in 1901. That was an 11-day heat wave from June 26th through July 6th. We have had 2 9-day heat waves in 2016 and in 1953, and 2 8-day heat waves in 1944 and 1991. July, on average, is the hottest month of the year, and it's the month we typically see the most amount of 90-degree days. In July 2020, there were 16 days of temperatures hitting 90 degrees or hotter. That was the most ever for the month of July, and the total that year was 25 90-plus degree days. All of those 90-degree temperatures helped make 2020 the second hottest July on record, only after the year 1955, and not even by a full degree, just by 0.4 of a degree. Only 2 weeks into the month, it is still too early to say where 2026 will rank, but so far this year, it has hit 90 degrees or hotter 7 times. It hit 90 twice in May, once in June, and now 4 times this month. In Williamsport, we are at 10 90-plus degree days so far this year, but there is, of course, plenty of summer left to go. Yes, it's been hot. And how do you enjoy the outdoors this time of year? Jeremy and Anthony recently saw a lake in one of our weather cameras that they wanted to check out. Here's what happened when the stars aligned. I see them.
You want to tell the folks at home who they are?
Yes. Oh no, I think one of them just went in the water.
How did we end up here? Well, it all started with a joke one afternoon with Kurt.
Mountain Springs Lake. Anthony says, watch out. One day I'm going to pull this shot up and he's going to be sitting on that dock. So we'll see. Oh, that's funny.
It wasn't long before Jeremy bought it.
Here's a beautiful view of Mountain Springs Lake Resort. This is just a fantastic place to hang out. I hope one day Anthony and I get to hang out on that dock That would be a lot of fun. Beautiful day to do so. Maybe go some fishing. I do see a fishing boat right there in the middle of the lake.
We had a brutal winter, and the first time in the summer could make anybody eager to jump into a pool, or in this case, a lake. And it wasn't long after this discussion when Jeremy and me started making the plans. And first, we had to figure out where the dock was.
So I searched Mountain Springs Lake Resort, and we got to this lake, which I believe is Mountain Springs Lake Resort. And I did some research here around the lake shore, and it seems like this might be our little pier that we have to find. And this might be our camera.
Next, we had to pick a good day, when the stars aligned. One June afternoon, our schedules worked. It was a warm, breezy, and sunny day, and we got our camera equipment, bags, towels, and we were headed off to Monroe County.
Thank you.
You just missed the turn.
Oh, we gotta go back.
45 minutes later, we would find ourselves in person looking at the view that we see all times of year on our weather cameras. Whether it's frozen or whether there's some fall foliage, or in this case, a beautiful summer view.
We were slightly incorrect about the exact position by a few hundred feet, but we knew we made it.
There.
Yep, happens to be right here.
Mountain Springs Lake Resort is a family-operated business. According to their website, kids discovered the lake about 90 years ago in the heart of Monroe County. Now, the lake itself is 76 acres big, but the property is a little more than 300 acres, so there's a lot of real estate to have some fun. The next goal was to be on television, which wasn't easy. There's about a 15-second delay between what happens on air and what we hear on our feed. We asked Kurt to put the temperature graphic right ahead of the camera graphic so we could time it out. And let's see how our first attempt went. And for the record, I asked Jeremy to push me in.
There's temperatures around the region. Boy, look at Williamsport, 88. You know what this is a good day for, Steph?
Body of water.
Body of water. You're absolutely right. And speaking of which, I see two recognizable figures on that dock right there. Do you know who they are, Steph?
I do.
Who?
Jeremy and Anthony.
There they are. They're on the deck. They're waving right now. Remember, I told you guys months ago that one of these guys were going to get on that dock.
Yeah.
And they did. You want to say hi to them? Zach?
Hi.
Hi, guys. Great job. And they finally did it. That's so funny. Anthony and Jeremy on the dock. All right.
We timed it perfectly, almost too perfectly, where Kurt didn't even notice. So 30 minutes later, we tried again.
Look at these two, Melissa.
I see them.
You want to tell the folks at home who they are?
Yes. Oh no! I think one of them just went in the water. I can't. Is that Anthony? I think.
That's Anthony. Anthony just went in the water.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that is perfect.
That's Anthony, and that is Jeremy. And you know, for months and months and months, even when the lake was frozen, we were showing this photo and talking about the little dock right there. And remember, Anthony said one day, you're going to look there and I'm going to be there. And then Jeremy and him decided today was the day, and they decided to go.
Today was the day.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yes. And they ended up in the water, whether they wanted to or not.
Exactly. Well, there you go. Good job, Jeremy. Good job, Anthony. Thank you, guys. We appreciate it. Now, Jeremy, get back here. You got a shift to do later. Let's go.
After the fun, we dried off and got to appreciate where we were. The lake that we had appreciated for months. Finally sitting at it and enjoying it in person. Anthony, we finally made it here on the edge of the famous spot.
It lives up to the hype, I'm telling you.
It is a beautiful, beautiful view. I am so glad that we get to come out here and enjoy it.
Yeah, and the winds are dying down now too. It was a bit breezy earlier.
It was, and the water's warm. And you found out firsthand, right?
Yeah, first hand, first foot, first everything. It's chilly, but it's nice here, especially in the sun.
And Anthony, we have two new additions to the WNEP family here with us, enjoying this beautiful view. This is a gift from a viewer. And I have a card here. I'm going to have you hold this for me.
It did get a little wet a little earlier because of the wind. We apologize.
But it says, Jeremy, meet Frick and Frack. When I heard you like frogs and found a pattern, I made these for you. I hope they bring a smile when you see them. Make their names if you choose. Always a fan. Sue from Danville. Sue, thank you so much. I love them. Of course they brought a smile to my face. They're adorable.
And they obviously have smiles on their faces too.
They do. They certainly do. Now, I am going to rename them. You named them Frick and Frack, but in honor of the backyard frogs, what are we going to name them?
Soggy and Sprinkles?
Soggy and Sprinkles. Those are the two backyard frogs. Soggy is darker than Sprinkles, so it kind of works perfectly. And do you notice what they're wearing, Anthony?
They look a little French to me, just to be honest with you. What?
Well, they happen to have very patriotic sweaters on. French, American, same color in the flags.
Yeah.
And this is just fantastic, Sue, that you made it so that they're celebrating America 250, in addition to being adorable frogs. We love them.
And we're leaving them here.
No, we're not. Don't tell that to Sue. We are going to bring these back to the backyard, and they're going to overlook the backyard. You'll see them live on television, I'm sure, soon. And they'll be sitting in this bench, which happens to be from my mom. She had it in her kitchen, and she said, you know what? This would really be perfect for those two frogs. So, Sue, they are going to have a seat wherever they go.
And that's perfect. That represents WNEP collaborative, everything. It's beautiful.
Always having a seat at the table. Yeah. Well, Sue, thank you for giving us these beautiful frogs and for watching us, and for all the other viewers joining us here on Cloud to Ground. We appreciate you too. That's a segment of, ready? 1, 2, 3, when
the stars align. We'll see you.
And we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, guys. You know Joe loves being outside all year round, although he obviously does prefer summer. When we come right back, he answers some interesting viewer questions in an all-new lightning round. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Cloud to Ground. I'm Allie Gallo. Joe loves answering questions for his lightning round, so let's check out these two we got from you.
Alrighty, folks, here we go. Another episode where we answer your questions. You know, it's called the lightning round.
Oh, that's scary.
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be fast, but it's quick.
Okay.
All right, so Lindsay is a producer here. Now, the beauty of Lindsay is that she was my student at Marywood. You had to take a science elective, and you took
Yes, I took your class.
meteorology. So she's going to know all these answers.
Yes.
Are you?
No.
There's one that you should know.
Okay.
Maybe. All right, so here we go. Lindsay, the producer. First question. You have a grandma at home, right?
I do.
Did you ever hear her say this? Because this is something I hear from older people.
Okay.
Are you ready? Michelle says, Joe, my arthritis hurts more when the humidity is high. Thank you. I always get aches and pains in changing weather.
Okay.
You hear your grandma say that?
Yeah, I say that.
I
say this.
You even say this?
I do.
Give me
My
an
back
example.
hurts.
When
And
what?
my wrist- when the weather, when it's raining, usually when it's stormy, raining.
Okay.
Damn.
What about a humid day like today?
There's more water in the air.
Yeah,
right?
so what do you think is doing this? Do you have any theories?
You mentioned dew point a lot in class.
Okay.
So dew point is when there's more moisture in
She's
the
good,
air.
she's good.
I'm good. I was a good student. More moisture in the air.
So when there's a lot of moisture in the air, it could cause inflammation.
Okay.
So your joints and your body structure will literally swell.
Really?
Vessels, joint skin, and that could cause pain for certain people. What's the other thing that's pushing down on the earth at all times? Atmospheric
Pressure?
pressure.
Yes.
So another thing, when a storm approaches or a low pressure system, air pressure literally decreases. So the air becomes lighter, and that would cause expansion on joints too. So changing air pressure could cause susceptible people to also feel some aches and pains. So atmospheric moisture will do it, and some joints will expand and contract with changing air pressure. So yes, weather does affect how you feel. She was good with that one. All right, this one. It's simple, but it's beautiful. Are you ready?
Yes.
This one is from Rick Bubeck. He simply says this. Would you read that?
Why are all planets round?
When you think about planets, they're round. You think about moons. Everything is round, round, round.
Yeah.
Stars, the sun, the earth, the moon. Do you know that answer?
You never covered this again.
In a way, I did. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to get these sheets of paper. Well,
Okay.
just one, I guess.
Which one?
Let's push it in all directions. Let's crumble them up. Oh my God, what is it when you squeeze on all sides?
It just all goes towards the center.
It's a ball!
Yes.
We just made 2 round things. You see, in space, folks, when things coalesce and gather together, what is the force that squeezes them equal in all directions?
It's gravity.
Gravity. So whenever something forms around a star itself or the leftover debris from the star, gravity squeezes it in all directions equally, so you'll end up with
a circle.
A circle, a sphere, a ball. That's why everything is round. Gravity on all sides. You were great.
Yay!
Yay! And remember, keep the questions coming. It is weather@WNEP.com. Weather@WNEP.com, and I answer them in this segment, the lightning round. You did great.
Thank you.
And what is it again if they want an email? Weather@WNEP.com. See you next time.
Thanks, Joe. Make sure you keep those questions coming. So there are many things that impact our weather and our climate, and usually kids ask the best questions. When we come right back, Kurt Aaron answers one of those here on Storm Tracker 16, Cloud to Ground. Stay with us. Welcome back to Cloud to Ground. I'm Allie Gallo. Lastly today, Kurt Aaron heads to the playground to answer a question about climate. But is the answer as clear-cut as it may seem? Here's Kurt.
You know, we had a great question this week in our science class segment. Here it is.
And my question is, why is weather different in some places because of the mountains or other landscapes?
Well, that is a great question, and I love mountains. As a matter of fact, I live on a mini mountain myself, 1,500 feet above sea level, and here in the backyard, we have a spectacular view of the mountains that we live on. Matter of fact, Courtney, my photographer, can show you more. You can see everything from here. Montage Mountain, shops at Montage. You can see the Lackawanna County Visitor Center down there. You can also see the airport off in the distance. And sometimes, if it's clear enough, we can see condensation from the Berwick Power Plant, from the towers. It's really cool. They make clouds. So, how does these big physical objects impact our weather? Well, I can tell you they do it in several ways. Let's start. Orographic lifting. See, mountains affect weather and climate primarily through the force of lifting winds, forcing prevailing winds rise over these peaks. That causes the air to cool and condense. And what does that mean? Well, look at this graphic. You can see the windward side of the mountain, the moist air approaching the mountain range, it is forced to go upwards. That's what we call orographic lift. As the air rises, it expands and cools, losing its ability to hold moisture. Now, this process produces thick clouds along with rain showers and even snow showers. And this graphic here does a great illustration showing you the windward side of the mountain. But when we talk about winds, we talk about the leeward side. And that's the side where the air sinks and compresses. And as it does, it warms as it moves down the mountain. And I was talking about that funneling of the wind that can also help create those strong gusty winds. We hear about the Santa Ana winds. We hear about the Chinook winds. These are all conditions that can lead to things like wildfires. So we need to be cognizant of both sides of the mountain. Another way mountains impact our weather, let's pretend we're high up. We're not several hundred feet above this area below us. Let's pretend we're 1,000 feet, okay? And we look down and we see the valley cities. And guess what? We see fog. Well, fog happens in the valley cities a lot of the times. It happens in the mountains as well, but in the valley cities, whenever you get a cool layer of air, especially in the fall time, and then you get a warm layer of air just above it, it traps that stagnant air in place. We end up, what we deal with, valley fog. We talk about that, and that can impact your morning commute as well. And then I want to talk about wind and how wind is impacted by these very mountains. But with valley fog, you need stagnant winds. So you can get that sometimes with mountains. But I want to show you something else. Let's pretend again this valley's down here. Where you have mountain passes, when it does pick up the wind, well, winds can get funneled through these mountain passes, and it can actually cause the winds to speed up. So it can increase wind speeds. So you have rain and snow by mountains, you have fog created by mountains. Remember that cool layer trapped underneath that thin warm layer? That creates fog, but then you can also have very gusty winds thanks to mountains, and especially the gaps in the mountains that causes the winds to pick up speed. So there's just 3 ways mountains impact us every single day. So thank you for that question in this week's science class. Now, let's move on to our next question.
How do you guys learn about the climate change?
Well, that's another great question, and we appreciate all of the questions that come in here to our program. That's it for this week's segment of Science Class for Cloud to Ground. I'm Chief Meteorologist Kurt Aaron. I hope you learned something, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Kurt, and thanks, kids. We hope you can get outside and enjoy some fresh air this week now that temperatures are leveling out and it's not feeling like the triple digits. We hope you had some fun this week and maybe even learned something new with us. Be sure to check us out next week and every week for Storm Tracker 16 Cloud to Ground.